Dr. Deshmukh, thank you so much for joining us at the moment. Looking at the numbers again, just to refresh data over here, because they are trickling in from the Election Commission as we speak. I'm looking at the Election Commission website as well. The BJP, of course, currently seems to have secured 47 of the 70 assembly constituencies in Delhi. The Aam Aadmi Party has, again slid down a little bit. It is currently at 23 as we speak. And as far as vote share is concerned, the the vote share difference is not much. AAP at 43.10% and BJP at 47.05%. Dr. Deshmukh, your analysis of the results and the data that you're seeing coming in from various constituencies and performances of candidates there.
I cannot help but remember 27 years back when we were doing the post poll. At that point of time, there was no TV. It was only print. So even in the Hindustan Times, you can pull out from the archives. We had said that the middle classes have, shown their back to the BJP. And it took 27 years for that same middle class to put BJP back in power. 15 years, Sheila ji carried the middle class with her because of the sheer impact on the infrastructure development that she did. Arvind Kejriwal came in along with the support across all the income groups and caste and other demographic groups. He focused more on the freebies and more on the bottom of the pyramid. He developed a very strong voting class, no doubt about that. That's why he is still polling about 43-44% vote. That's not a small number. But in the same process, in the last 2 years, I would say, he lost the middle class. Primarily because of the fact that Aam Aadmi Party was no more seen as a corruption crusader, as a party with a difference, the one which came out from the Anna Andolan and like that. So that was the one fact. Still, the middle class was upset, but not really willing out to vote, go out and vote. And what Nirmala Sitharaman did was a brilliant master stroke in terms of budget. She provided the precise reason for people to go out and vote. Because before this budget, please remember what was the prime complaint of the middle class in this country against the Revdi culture, against the freebies, which, by the way, even BJP was forced to play on the freebie pitch, saying they will not stop what Kejriwal is offering. They will, kind of make it even better. Middle class was asking very seriously, ये सब रेवड़ी जो बट रही है आ कहां से रही है टैक्स तो हम दे रहे हैं हमको क्या मिला and that middle class was kind of getting really restless before this budget, and then the budget came in, and with the kind of income tax slabs and everything that was in between, all of a sudden in the last 3-4 days the entire narrative of the middle class changed. And I think the angry middle class, which was angry from Kejriwal, but not very sure to come out and vote, they actually decided to come out and vote. So precisely 27 years, the same middle class which pushed BJP out of power, the same middle class has now pushed them back in power. And if there is one hero of this entire BJP victory, there are many, I would say, but I think Nirmala Sitharaman should get the credit where due. I mean, she delivered Delhi for BJP, no doubt about that.
So are you suggesting that, possibly, the results as they stand today, they happened to a large extent after Feb 1st, after the budget speech was delivered by the finance minister?
I mean, look at the gap. You just mentioned that the seat share gap is huge, but the vote share gap is not that huge. Now you can imagine that even if Nirmala Sitharaman has managed to swing 3% votes for the BJP, that has done the trick.
Right.
And the reason why the middle class is excited, that for the first time in 10 years, you see, middle class gets excited with the narratives. It is the class which makes the narrative. A lot of middle class does feel good about the country going forward under Mr. Modi. That's fine. That's why Mr. Modi got 3 terms back to back in the Lok Sabha level. But in the assembly level, many states, BJP has not been able to convert the same magic as far as the assembly elections were concerned. So there were questions that were being asked, no doubt about that. And one more thing which we must importantly understand, that Middle class is the new caste group of India. We are way too prone to analyze Indian elections from different caste group. Dalit kidhar gaya, Brahman kidhar gaya, OBC kidhar gaya, Yadav kidhar gaya, Musalman kidhar gaya. Fine, understandable. But ever since we opened up the economy in India, you will realize in 91, we had only about 3% of the middle class in this country when you compare it to about 35% as on today. Now, the more and more the middle class is increasing, it's becoming a caste group in itself because the middle class values or middle class thought process on many things remains the same. A Brahmin middle class is likely to have the same set of middle class values as a Dalit or a OBC or a Muslim middle class. And that is something which Delhi election has proven. And now I hope that the policy planners, while keeping an eye on the bottom of the pyramid, while doing their lot on the freebie culture and all the Labharti schemes, I'm not saying that India doesn't need that because obviously we all know when government says they are giving free ration to 800 million people, opposition says not everybody needs it. Even if you slash it by half, still there are 400 million people. One can argue that who actually needs that ration support, right? So I'm not saying that these schemes should be taken away. The Labharti schemes do not have their impact or role in this country. After all, when COVID struck, all of us were fearing that there could be more starvation death than the COVID itself. But that did not happen thanks to the free food program. But at the same time, the government or the policy makers have to seriously think about this new huge middle class, which votes, sets the narrative, and at the same time is the biggest taxpayer, at the same time has been asking what exactly are we getting in return. So Arvind Kejriwal, with all his issues and the problems that might have hit him, that's another thing. But I genuinely believe the day Aam Aadmi Party won MCD election, their problems started. Because till that point of time, Aam Aadmi Party was blaming everything that was wrong with infrastructure in Delhi on the BJP. गंदगी हो रही है, कूड़ा नहीं उठ रही है, नाली बह रही है, सीवेज खराब हो गया है. Everything was being blamed on BJP because BJP was controlling MCD. The moment they won the MCD, in the hindsight, probably they would be cutting that day because they owned up the problem and they could not do anything about it. In our post-poll research, you will be surprised to know that one of the biggest reasons for those who were angry with the Aam Aadmi Party was the garbage on the roads. The garbage was the waste management, the poor quality of tap water, which was absolutely unpalatable, undrinkable, that was coming through. So those things have a direct issue with the infrastructure. Now the middle class, whenever you think of that, poor person on the street might still look at many of the freebies, might still look at the free bijli, free pani, mohalla clinic, even sarkari school. But anybody who is a bit shade better in income on that will start asking that for 15 years, this city was world class. We agree. And in the last 10 years, we saw that world class infrastructure crumbling down to a really pathetic state where air is unbreathable, where water is unpalatable, where the roads are not drivable, where the public transport system is crushing. So all these things, they matter to the middle class. I think this is a template where from here onward, every party will have to balance it out. It cannot be no more the only freebie culture. It has to balance it out with the better dreams and better future for middle class as well, because middle class is an equally important voting bloc in this country now, that everybody has to take out their glasses of looking at everything from the casteism and religious polarization thing. Middle class has arrived again. They have hammered it down again. I think the politicians will take note of that.
Okay. Mr. Deshmukh, before, of course, I moved to some of the other guests as well. I'm very interested in knowing about the women voter as well. We've spoken so much, and so much ink has been spent on writing about the woman voter in the past few elections as well, and how decisive a factor that bloc has been. In the post-poll survey that C Voter conducted, you said that a large chunk, close to about 50.7%, favored the Aam Aadmi Party, the women voters, 34.3% for the Bharatiya Janata Party. How much? I mean, obviously, too early. You will be studying the results. You will be seeing, how it has panned out constituency-wise as well. But how much of a factor do you think that has also played here?
It has played. Otherwise, Aam Aadmi Party would not be polling 43-44% votes. Please try to understand, if the women turnout would have been more than the male turnout, within the same set of data, we said that this data will yield about 4% lead for the BJP in the overall vote share, for a simple reason that in the national capital, there are 54% male voters and only 46% female voters. So there is a male skew as far as the number of males in the electoral rolls are concerned. That would have yielded BJP a lead of 4%, which is very much, you can see at the Election Commission website, it is coming down to 4%. But female voters do matter. I think what went wrong with Kejriwal's calculation on female voter is that, unlike the Maharashtra government, where Shinde actually provided 3 or 4 installment of her, Ladli Lakshmi Yojana,
Ladki Bahin,
to female, Kejriwal could not even provide one single installment. Obviously, there is politics behind that. Let's leave it at that. But if Kejriwal would have probably delivered 1 or 2 installments, that might have saved the day for him. But that did not happen. And then BJP pitched up by 400 rupees, saying that, okay, he is promising 2,100. We are promising 2,500, and we have delivered in many states. So that would have been case. This is why when you look at the turnout, unlike other states in Delhi, the female turnout did not go up. The female turnout was at par with the male turnout. It was not spectacularly high, as in many other states that we have witnessed, the female turnout trumping the male turnout. It did not happen. So I think that is where they lost the plot.
Okay. So that is going to be a point of introspection for the Aam Aadmi Party as well. Yashwant Deshmukh, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a sense of your perspective of the results as they're trickling in right now.